Hey YouTube, welcome to Sunkerns Lab. Today I have a UU battle on Pokemon Showdown. Now as you can see by the team preview, my team is actually on the other side. And I know I said I wasn't going to upload videos from the other side of the screen anymore. I've been trying to avoid that the best I can. However, this battle turned out to be really close and there was some critical things going on towards the end of the battle. So I decided I was going to upload it regardless, and hopefully it's not too hard to follow. Well, whatever. Hopefully it's not too bad, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But looking at my opponent's team, first of all, my team, before I actually get into his team, my team, I recently made this team. It looks very similar to my other team, with the changes being the Darmanitan and the Zapdos. Wow, this commentary is already starting off really wonderful. Anyway, you know, I have some changes on the team, but for the most part, it looks relatively similar. There are quite a few changes. For example, the Mienshao is banded, not life-orbed, and the Zapdos is obviously not on the other team, neither is the Darmanitan. But basically, just the other three members of the team happen to be members that went well with the synergy of this team, and I wanted to use them, so I did, even though it looks sort of like my other team. But anyway, looking at my opponent's team, the main sweeper that I plan to use late game is Darmanitan, and because he has a Chandelure, it's going to be very hard to really use my Darmanitan to lock myself into Flare Blitz and just destroy his team, because everything else on his team is OKO'd or 2KO'd by Flare Blitz and outsped, except for the Galvantula. Galvantula is not outsped, but it is OKO'd, so, you know, once again, everything on his team is OKO'd or 2KO'd, and everything is outsped except for Galvantula, but the thing is, because of the Chandelure, I can't actually lock myself into Flare Blitz safely, so I have to keep that in mind and not rush into Flare Blitzing everything right off the start of the match, which is unfortunate. Other than that, he doesn't have a spinner, and he doesn't really have a spin blocker outside of his Chandelure, which dies to EQ from Claydol, so I'm not really too worried about hazards from either side. So that's what I end up just deciding. That's why I end up deciding to lead straight up with my Frostlass. I'm able to get up a layer or two of spikes, I figure. I expect the Meloetta to go for, I don't know what Meloetta goes for. I've never really played against one, so I decided to go for the Taunt just in case it decides to Toxic me. And it ends up going for the Shadow Claw, which is pretty random. But what I decided to do, instead of going for a second layer of spikes, I decided to go for a Destiny Bond. However, he predicts that and switches down to his Crocodile, but I don't think he really understood the mechanics of Destiny Bond, because if he attacks me, if he's faster than me on the next turn, he still dives to the Destiny Bond, so he doesn't really actually gain anything from that, but whatever. So, but the point is that I got to go for the Destiny Bond, take out his Crocodile, and then I was able to bring in my Empoleon safely. Now, because I was able to bring in my Empoleon, I'm able to set up the rocks and basically get a free switch out of my Empoleon into my Claydol, expecting close combat, and that's actually what he decides to go for. He does go for the close combat with his Meloetta, his changed Meloetta form. I'm not sure what it's called. I think it's called Pirouette. You know, it goes for the close combat, then goes for the Shadow Claw. I just go for the EQ, and then the next turn I just had to try to predict him to go into his Crobat, and I went for the Ice Beam. But he just stays in. Either way, he wouldn't have died, so it doesn't really make a difference at all what I went for. And then basically I just leave in my Claydol as Death Fodder, because like I said, he doesn't really have, I'm not really too afraid of hazards. But because I let my, can't think of the words, because I let my Claydol die, I'm able to bring in my Darmanitan for free and lock myself into Flare Blitz, predicting him to want to stay in, because if he switched out, he would die to hazards. But he brings in a Chandelure after I kill off his Meloetta, which is unfortunate, because like I said, as long as the Chandelure is alive, my Darmanitan cannot lock itself into Flare Blitz. And he knows that, so when I bring in my Darmanitan on this turn, he actually is going to switch out into his Crobat, predicting the Earthquake. I predicted the switch into, I don't know, anything else, so I just decided to go for the U-turn, and it kind of works out for me because I'm able to get basically a free switch into my Zapdos. And then he goes with Double Edge. I'm not sure why he has Double Edge on a Crobat. It's kind of a weird set. Maybe that's recommended, I don't know, but whatever. He goes for Double Edge either way. I kill him off with a T-Bolt. Regardless, he wouldn't have been able to kill me off with any move anyway. And then he brings in his Galvantula. I know for a fact he can kill me off with a Thunder, and obviously that's what he decides to do. And then I can bring in my Darmanitan. Now, the thing is, right here, I could have locked myself into EQ and won. But I locked myself into Rock Slide. Now, this is where the match completely shifts, because at this point, I should have had the match just by locking myself into EQ. But because I locked myself into Rock Slide, he now gets a free switch to his Empoleon, and he turns out to be sub-agility. Now, at this point, I'm forced to go into my Mian Chow. I'm forced to lock myself into Drain Punch, because if I lock myself into anything else, he can bring in a Chandelure and take it, or I won't be able to break his sub on Empoleon. So Drain Punch is my best middle ground to go for, so I can be sure to hit every single substitute, break his substitute, and not get the recoil from High Jump Kick should he switch into Chandelure. Now, there's a few things that are in play in my mind right here, and that's why I paused. First of all, he has +2 speed, +1 special attack, so at this point he can sweep the last two guys on my team. He can OKO everybody on my team without a doubt. So, at this point, I was thinking I lost. And what I decided to do is just leave in my Mian Chow and let it die. But the thing is if his Empoleon is running modest nature, which is what Smogon actually suggests, is to run modest nature, sub-Petia Berry Empoleon. If you run modest nature, you actually don't outspeed Scarf 95s. And my Darmanitan is a Scarf 95, so I should say Jolly Scarf 95s, because my Darmanitan is Jolly Scarf 95. So Empoleon, he might not be able to outspeed my Darmanitan, so I'm going to have to wait and see whether or not he'll actually outspeed my Darmanitan after he kills my Mian Chow. But unfortunately for him, that's actually not going to come into play because he misses his Hydro Pump, and that was a huge critical miss, because if he had hit that Hydro Pump and he was timid, he would have won the game without a doubt, because he could have killed off my Darmanitan with any move, so, and I would have had to lock myself into Flare Blitz, so it's basically, or I could have locked myself into EQ, but either way, he would have definitely beat me as long as he hit a second Hydro Pump. But because he missed that Hydro Pump, I was able to leave in my Mian Chow, fodder it out to the Chandelure, and then bring in my Darmanitan, finish up the game with an EQ, and yeah, that's the game. Now, I know this match seems kind of short, but it was a really close match considering the score. It was a very narrow 1-0, being as my Darmanitan very well could have been killed if it wasn't for the fact that he missed that Hydro Pump. The thing is I have no clue whether or not he was timid or timid or modest, excuse me. So I really can't say whether or not I would have won that game if it wasn't for hacks, but I'm definitely happy that he missed either way, because either way it just made the battle 100% assured victory in my, for me. So, yeah, it was a short battle. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you didn't find it too boring or one-sided or anything. I wanted to upload it simply because of the reason that the ending was so close, and I found it pretty intense. Even when I was in the battle, I was frustrated, and I was nervous, and I was also kind of excited to see how it was going to turn out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and as you can see on your screen, you can click the buttons to watch my previous video or my next video when it gets uploaded, or you can click to subscribe to my channel. Anyway, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.